So Yves, first of all, general impression on Salone this year. What do you feel about it?
Well, I'm not so fortunate when it comes to being able to enjoy the Salone because we had a few shows ourselves,
Right.
and that means I have to stay closer to where the shows are. But
Right.
in general, I've seen the things that I'm interested in tend to be a little bit more laboratory, a little bit more experimental,
Right.
because for me, Milan is where people come to experiment, not as much for commercial, just to sell a product. I think what makes Milan interesting and attractive is all these students and these designers and these companies experimenting and pushing and trying something.
But it seems that there's a lot of criticism around Salone. I don't know, maybe people are tired or something, but they seem to think that the fun's out of design or that people aren't experimenting. You're not the case.
Well, the thing is, I think in many ways, compared to 10, 20 years ago,
Right.
the Salone has gone from being quite small to being something gigantic. I mean,
Right.
I don't know, 350,000 people come to Milan. I mean, it's bigger than a Madonna concert. So it's like it's a lot more people, a lot more companies. So just as you always have to do everywhere you go, you need to look for the things you're interested in.
Right.
And so maybe you just have to kind of look for it. But I think it's still there. There's a lot of things that maybe aren't as interesting around it,
Right.
but you still have to look for what you connect with.
But do you think this is a result of a lack of talent, or is it sort of pushed by companies and the way technology has changed in process?
I mean, look, Milan has become a very important place for really anybody who makes anything. So you have, technology companies from all around the world that are coming, car companies that are coming, and people bring great things and they bring crappy things.
Right.
What are you going to do? You can't prevent people from coming.
Right.
That said, I do believe you can still find quality. I do believe you can still find fun. It's at some point, some people get old and they think just the past is better. Everything in the past is perfect and anything in the present is crappy. Maybe they're old.
Possibly true. Well, you're very technologically driven. Is this a result of your aesthetic direction, or is it something that interests you in general in your life?
I mean, for me, technology is just a tool. It's
Right.
an enabler. But if you, as a designer, if you think about experience, if you think about simplicity, if you think about connectivity, if you think about bringing things and people together, I think technology is important. But I actually learned about it as a young designer in the mid-90s when I moved to California. I moved to San Francisco, and I worked with a lot of the pioneers of personal technology. And I learned to simply integrate it in my work and in my process. But as you can see with Sail, if you can see the process with
Right.
Sail, if you go to the liveunframe.com website, you can see that so much of it is done by hand. So much of the experimentation, the laboratory work, the prototypes, the drawings, everything's done by hand. These are important tools, but they're not really the process. They're not the final. The aim is
Right.
not technology.
Well, coming to Sailchair, would you like to discuss a bit about the project and how it came to become? What were your goals in the beginning? Maybe
Sure.
your problems?
So the Sailchair project came on the heels a year or so, or a year or two after we presented the $100 laptop, the one laptop per child, and we had already worked with Herman Miller on the leaf lamp,
Right.
and Herman Miller came to me and said, well, if you can make a $100 laptop, maybe you can make a $100 chair.
Right.
But they didn't come with the number. The number was never discussed. We just said, You know, how can we make the Herman Miller quality, ergonomics, design, warranty, you know, all the things that people count on for Herman Miller, how can we make that attainable,
Right.
affordable? And just like we had done with a $100 laptop, what we started to think about is how to make one part do more, how to find materials that will you know, do more,
Right.
more efficient, an efficient use of resources, and for that we had to invent a
Right.
lot of things.
And you're pleased with the outcome, I assume, and
Yes, I mean
it's been received very well. I know. So,
yeah, people are always ready to receive a design that is that they can relate to.
right.
I think the challenge with an office chair is not just the, you know, the solution, the technical resolution. It's also the fact that in many ways an office chair is a symbol of a certain era. You know, like in the 80s and 90s, in the 70s, they all had sort of something that was symbolic of
Right.
the time when it comes to furniture. And for me, you know, what the office is becoming a lot more horizontal in structure, a lot more democratic, a lot more transparent.
Right.
And so this chair is trying to say, look, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're the big boss or you're the, you know, clerical worker, you can sit on the same chair.
Right.
You know, this chair is also talking about transparency. You know, it doesn't have a lot of weight in the space. The material is very visually porous, visually transparent, which makes it look lighter and within the space. So in a way, my wish from the beginning is that it does have a place in the way that we work today, in the way that the office is changing, and towards, you know, I think workplaces and offices that people just enjoy more. You know?
Right, absolutely. So coming back to, since we discussed also the project with the $100 laptop,
Yeah.
your opinion on design as far as economically speaking, should it be accessible? Should it be, I don't know, should it be considered a luxury good? Should there be different categories?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think you should be able to practice design on many different levels, and that's why there's many different designers and many different projects. That said, many of my projects have been about attainability, about bringing together two different notions, which I think people think are separate. The notion of low carbon footprint, you know, with products, recyclability, sustainability, and the notion of affordability. You know, so often these type of projects tend to be, you know, sort of eco projects, organic, you know, environmental projects, tend to be very expensive.
Right.
And I fundamentally disagree with that. The sail chair, you know, if you remove every particle you remove, every piece of plastic you remove from it, actually makes it less, you know, makes it lighter on the environment, makes it lighter to ship, makes it, you know, smaller to a smaller carbon footprint to get from place to place, uses less material, obviously, but it also makes it cheaper.
Right.
Right? It's an obvious equation. So to me, bringing together this notion of affordability, products that are low cost, and you know, design for the environment mentality, which Herman Miller has had for forever, are things that I want to bring together. And so the sail is an example of that, and you know, the shoebox for Puma is an example of that. The $100 laptop, the eyeglasses from Mexico.
Right.
You know, all these projects have this theme that wants to prove that the idea of sustainability is reachable, is something that we can get to.
Well, I think what's successful about that is, in your case, is that sustainability is something that it's discrete sustainability, as I say it, in the sense that they're sustainable products, but are not evident in the way they look. People that hear sustainability, they think cardboard.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, it's like this notion that we're gonna
get less because it's green
Right.
is doesn't work. I mean, people just simply won't buy it. People are not going to buy something just because it's green if it's more expensive, if it's less of an experience, if it's not as good, if it's less quality, or if it doesn't look as good. They simply are not. So it's really the work of the designer to use this as a criteria that doesn't prevent you from, again, delivering delight and comfort and beauty and quality.
Great. How about the way you approach design? I mean, obviously your goals are clear in the way you think about it, but what is the process you usually follow as a designer?
So my process is very much based on ideas. It's not based on style. You know, it's
Right.
not about a signature. So we, you know, each one of our projects is unique from that standpoint. But we start with an idea, strong ideas, and we tend to make ourselves subservient to the idea, and it drives us throughout the process. And every decision we make is really based on this concept that we came up with. You know, some design studios do, you know, 100 designs, and then they pick 5, and then they pick 2,
Right.
and you know, we tend to explore, of course, but very quickly we tend to focus on one idea, and we can go deeper into that. So writing down ideas that we're excited about is where we start, and it's a process of making the idea clear, the story clear to the consumer throughout.
Right.